Hello everyone, Zelarinth here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to be talking about poll priorities, but from a new player perspective for the month of May and kind of through the next few months. And I like to try to do this video about once a month, as this is always a shifting goalpost as new players come in. And this is especially important right now for Trackblazer, where I feel like it's probably the hardest time for a new player to kind of get into the game and get established and caught up to be competitive. And so with that, we'll just go ahead and get into it and talk about how you might want to approach this as a new player. Now, if you're one of those people that wants to reroll, which I always advise that rerolling is very good to do in this game, as it's very easy to do. As a new player, we actually have currently a very good banner to do it on, and that is this one right here with Mr. CB Wit. You can probably look at either my videos or any other content creator videos that talk about why it's a pretty good card, but just know at a quick discussion point on it is it's a pretty good wit stat stick for getting your Uma's wits up, but also if you're willing to build an end closer, which one of the free-to-play ones that you should get right off the bat on polls for Uma's will be Gold Ship, which this card will work quite well with, and Gold Ship can be really good on pretty much any track as a brand new player. Now, you're not, without all the support cards to really build a super strong one, she's not going to be very, very strong. But as a new player, you're not going to want to approach the graded league, which is where you can build the strongest Uma possible. But instead, through Trackblazer, you're going to want to build Umas for the open league, which has a limitation on how high of a rank you can build your Uma, which means as a new player, you can build one that's competitive there fairly easy because people are going to have to hold back on how much stats and skills they give those Umas to not go over that rank. And you don't even need high dupes to do that. And so with that, Mr. CB, really good pickup just for the stat stick. And then if you build end closers, has a gold skill. So this is kind of where to go in as a reroll. And now, if you're just now watching this video after it falls off, there's really nothing crazy good coming out for rerolls. You might see this one with a speed card, Marikani Fukukataru Speed. It's an OK card. If you're going to reroll, potentially do it there. But at that point, it's quite a while before I would say would be a good banner again to reroll on, which would be Taiki Shuttle SSR Speed here. Now, this is a card that I'm going to tell pretty much all veteran players to skip. It's kind of a bait card, being primarily for Miles. Very strong card for Miles, but a very good borrow card for veteran players. But as a new player, just getting that good speed stat stick card, this one is potential reroll as well, but it is a decent ways away. And so I'd rather do it down here for Mr. CB Wit. And then you just work with whatever support cards you get at that point. Building Umas that are strong enough to win an open league is going to be, I would say, decently easy with not even having high dupes of the SRs, because, like I said, there's a limitation on the rank you can get, and you can easily, in the current scenario, hit that rank, even with pretty bad cards. And then you can just continue to save after you kind of get yourself in for quite a while. It's going to be about a month and a half here. As we can see here, this is going to end on May 9th. But if you just continue to save and do not pull on any banners, and unless there's an Uma you want, you might want to do some research on the Umas. I've made videos, other content creators make videos on the Umas. Maybe there's an Uma that you want to dip your toes into. But personally, I would continue to save until we get to basically the end of June here. And if you want to kind of get some Umas on your account, the best banner for me, or that I would say for a new player, would be at the end of June, the one with Sayun Sky and Narita Bryan OG. So if you've been watching any older videos on top Umas and whatnot to look out for, one of them is Sayun Sky. If you ever want to build front runners, she has an inherit that any Umas that you build off of her legacy that allows front runners to get a pretty consistent acceleration on most of the racetracks when we get into the late race. Very good pickup. And then you also have Narita Bryan, which is another good pickup card for your pace chasers, late surges, and end closers with her inherit, and then also being strong herself. And so this one, as a new player, to me, is the best Uma banner to kind of dip your toes in, to not only get them, but also off-banner some other Umas alongside it. But if there's like one that you really like in these groups, don't be afraid to pull on any of them, just to kind of try and get yourself some more Umas other than the ones you start out with. But after that point, we're coming up to where you finally will be able to pull on support cards if you've been saving diligently up to this point to really try and establish yourself. Because the whole entire goal as a new player, I'm going to say at this point, is not to make yourself strong for the current scenario, but for the next scenario, Grand Live, which will be dropping like in 2.5 months. And the next big banner, this is the one that all the veterans are looking to pull on, but as a new player should be for you as well. And that's going to be the Summer Maruzensky card right here. Very good speed card. Now, it is going to be targeted towards front runners, but it works decently okay as just a generic stat stick speed card. Its unique effect being that depending on the level of your facility will depend on how much training effectiveness you get off of it. So it can be kind of a floating speed card to train other stats. Not as useful in Track Blazer, but it will be very useful in other scenarios as we start leveling them up again. You only need 2 copies of it. So you can just dip your toes into this one, 200 pulls. If you don't get a single copy and you pity at 200 for one, you do lose the power bonus. It does weaken it, but we will be getting another a free selector during the 1.5 year anniversary, which is when the next scenario drops, that you can use to top it up to 1 limit break, which then makes this card very usable as a speed card for you. And then overall, just a very good card to start off with. Now, I would say as a new player, do not go more than 200 pulls in this, because you're going to want to continue to save past this point into the new scenario banner that will drop that has not only a pretty stinking good speed card for Grand Live, but also it'll be a good speed stat stick for you as a new player for a little while, since you've kind of already missed the big ones like Kitasan Black and that in the past. And this also has the PAL card, Light Hello, which for new players, basically these PAL cards, every single scenario will have like a link PAL card or group card that's pretty much mandatory for the scenario, because it ties to the mechanics of the scenario and kind of gives you, whether it's extra currency or stat stick or something, that makes it very, very strong and basically a must-have. So by pulling on this, you'll be able to get a copy of her alongside Agnes Tachyon Speed. I'd say being able to do 400 pulls here, and you'll be nice and solid for Grand Life. And what this basically does for you, if you follow this plan as a new player, you would have, if you re-rolled, Mr. CB Wit, which is your Wit card, which is a good, decent enough stat stick. You'll have that paired with a Summer Maruzensky, which is a speed card, paired with Agnes Tachyon Speed, another speed card. And then you'll have the PAL card, Light Hello for Grand Life. And so now you're sitting on 4 big cards for Grand Life. So you're already basically got 4 out of the 6 cards that you want for the new scenario, make it very usable for the next scenario. We also have the borrow slot. So now you have a card you can borrow. That brings you up to 5 cards. And then that 6th and final last card is just going to be kind of a flex card depending on what you've gotten on your off banner pulls. There's so many cards that are in the pool. It's kind of hard to talk around that. You just have to kind of look at what you got, and maybe look into what the value of that card is, whether on the certain champions meetings when it comes to building a deck. But having 5 out of 6 cards that are basically going to be your main cards you're going to use for Grand Live makes it where you will potentially be competitive in Grand Live to be able to win a champions meeting right off the bat. And that's only a couple months out from now. And so that'll be really good. Now, when it gets into the Grand Live, you also have another opportunity to really set yourself up for success even longer. Now, there's banners that you'll hear talked about, one of them being this one with Fine Motion Maruzensky. This is where you can top up an MLB or Maruzensky and then get another very strong Wit card. But if you re-rolled on Mr. CB Wit, to me, you can skip this banner. Maruzensky is good enough at Limit Break 1. Fine Motion, while it is a better stat sticks now, it will get replaced by another one that you should be saving up for at the end of this scenario. So just make Mr. CB Wit work for now. As a new player, it's fine enough. You can skip that one and then go all the way to this one right here that has Mr. CB Wit, which you have, which now you can get more copies of it and try and work its way to MLB. But another big card that will last you quite a long time, that is Super Creek Stamina. Now, it will get power creeped, I believe, in 2 scenarios, but it's still very, very usable. So you don't, even when it gets power creeped, it's still a very good card that you can use. And this would be the banner that I would be saving for as a new player after the start of the scenario, to pull on and try and get to limit break 3. So I'd try and get 400 pulls for this. This is where you're going to be able to compete on the longer races, as she has a very consistent heal and then a very strong stat stick for stamina. And then if you pull in that banner, now you basically have all of your slots for your support cards covered in terms of building a deck for Grand Live. And then that gives you the flexibility at that point to just continue saving and pulling and almost following what everybody else is doing veteran-wise in terms of their pull priorities. And you don't really need any more guidance as a new player from that point, but instead just kind of following whether you have a favorite Uma that you maybe want to invest in, which direction you're going, or if you're just wanting to go hardcore meta. And so that's going to be pretty much it for this video. I thought I'd just kind of talk about a little bit of a plan for new players. Now, no, I didn't really talk about Umas too much other than the one that kind of has, to me, the meta inherit to pick up with Seiyun Sky. But if you have some Umas that you like or you might want to pull on, and you'll hear them discussed by not only me, but other content creators, I feel like you have room in here to pull on an occasional Uma banner. And so don't be afraid to pull on ones you like. The whole point of this game is to have fun, unless you're crazy like me and you only go for meta, because I find that the fun way to approach it. But there are tons of different Umas that you can pick up in here. And there's really no big must pickups in the sense of inherits for quite a bit of time. We've already kind of went past all those, so you can hopefully off-banner them, or if you're willing to spend any money, pick them up on future Uma selectors to slowly increase your account, or you can get them through the legend races, which are available daily that can help you grind out getting those Umas in 150 days. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for this new player priority poll video. And it's definitely, I will say, Trackblazer is definitely a very hard scenario for a new player to get into. So I definitely, like I said in the beginning, recommend to just participate in the Open League. Really just learn the mechanics of the game over the next 2.5 months and get yourself ready for Grand Live, where I feel like you can be competitive right out of the gate if you're very diligent with how you do your pulls and don't try and pull on every banner like some gacha players like to do. But that's going to be it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.